organization, which, where a lot of workshops like these, Julia performs on just kind of educating students on safe drinking and harm reduction. So today, as college and university students, drinking is a pretty norm in our social circle, right? Whether it's at events, with your friends. So today's workshop is just kind of talking about some of the effects of that. How can you keep yourself safe and your friends safe? And we will be giving out breathalyzers towards the end of the workshop today, which I believe Julia will go more into as the presentation begins. We do have lunch as well, so towards the end of the presentation, we'll give out the lunch boxes to all of you. If you want to stay here and eat afterwards, you can, or you can kind of take the lunch box to go about your day. I'm going to pass it on to Julia now to introduce herself.
Forward and backwards.
Okay, hello everyone. Nice to meet you. Today we're going to talk about responsible drinking and harm reduction. But first, a bit about who I am. My name is Julia Matthews, the owner of Not Your Child Court. We are normalizing the use of breathalyzers in society as smart, proactive safety tools. Okay, they're like basically for you to know yourself and to measure your alcohol intake. Right? Because alcohol crashes, they are still happening, right? The fact of the matter is, bars, clubs, sporting events, they still have parking lots, and it's not just for the people that work there, right? So drinking and driving does happen. Breathalyzers are a smart tool because they let you gauge exactly where you are. So that's what my organization does, and we love to educate people about their breath and about safe alcohol consumption. So today we're going to talk about our mission and have a little question and answer, and also the factors affecting intoxication, right? Responsible drinking guidelines, because what's the average age of everyone in this group? 25, 20s, 30s, 20s? Yeah. So I lost friends to inebriated driving in my 20s as well, right? And I will continue telling you some more stories. So this is why this is so important to me, and this is why it's a life mission. I've lost friends from, even in the teens, to inebriated driving. And sometimes they weren't even in the car of the inebriated driver, right? So it's a serious thing. Okay, so we are founded, as I said before, as a mission to normalize breathalyzers and to empower you to make good choices, right? So the purpose of this session is to educate you on responsible drinking, harm reduction, and making more informed decisions, right? And we're going to have a question and answer, as I said before. So, let's do this. Okay. So we're going to teach you how to recognize and respond to the signs of alcohol poisoning effectively. Actually, one of my friends actually did pass from alcohol poisoning. And another one, a good associate, recently passed from mixing alcohol with, wasn't a stimulant, it was like a depressant, it was Xanax, right? With prescription drugs. So it's a serious thing, and you guys have to really be careful, okay? And we're gonna also discuss risky behaviors, right? And explore better decision-making tactics, okay? So, what is the safe number of drinks per hour? I left the answer there so you can see, it's not a guess. So some people think it's 1 drink per hour, some people think it's 2 drinks per hour. Really and truly depends on the person. Reason being, right, muscle affects how your body metabolizes alcohol, right? Muscle, weight as well, right? So there's a couple of things. Your gender, right? For men tend to have a higher alcohol tolerance than women, all things being equal, same weight, right? Same height. Your food intake. Did you eat this morning? Did you not eat before? Were you eating while you were drinking? Also, how rested you are affects how inebriated you get and how fast you get, intoxicated, right? Your mood also affects it as well. A lot of people don't know that the mood also affects it, right? So if you have more muscle on your body, you tend to have a higher tolerance, alcohol tolerance. But it's not good to guess. That's why it's good to just breathalyze and know where you are, to just make sure that you're okay to drive. Another thing is, a lot of people don't know that the limit in Ontario is 0.05. They think it's 0.08. It's not. 0.08 is in Quebec. Now, you won't be criminally charged if you're 0.05 in Ontario, but you'll be warned that it also depends on how many times you were warned before, and it depends on the officer, right? And depends on how, if you were driving recklessly or not. Now, let me say this. Something that a lot of people don't know. You can still be charged with impaired to any degree. So say you have 0.001, but you're found to be driving recklessly enough for an officer to pull you over, you will still be charged with impaired to any degree. A lot of people don't know that. So cough syrup in your system, impaired is impaired, right? Cough syrup in your system, over-the-counter drugs in your system, you're still considered impaired, right, to any degree. So don't just think that, oh, I'm below 0.05, I can do whatever I want to do. No, you still have to drive responsibly, okay? So the general guidelines suggest 1 standard drink per hour, but as I said, it varies. So a standard drink, usually a 12-ounce beer at 5%, that's 1 standard drink. Wine, 5 ounces at 12%, and liquor, 1.5 at 40%. Here we go again, body weight, metabolism, gender, food intake, and tolerance, right? So, pacing is important because remember, the alcohol goes from your gut directly into your bloodstream, right? So, if you're drinking fast, it's going to shoot right into your bloodstream, and you're going to have a higher BRAC, right? BRAC, for our purposes, is still BAC. BRAC is breath alcohol concentration. It's the same thing as blood alcohol concentration, just a different measurement. Because they take it comes from deep inside of your lungs, right? Now, also hydration, as I said before, water. How much water do you have inside of your system? Because alcohol is a diuretic, right? It's a diuretic. And it causes dehydration, and the dehydration, it contributes to dizziness and increasing intoxication. Remember, just think about the premise. Once you follow the principle of it going from your gut to your bloodstream, right? Remember that. Food intake. Now, of course, if you have food in your stomach, then the alcohol is released slower into your bloodstream, right? Because there's a barrier there. The food is there to just kind of stop it or to kind of help it, right? So it's always important to eat while you're drinking and even eat before you drink. Okay, here are some myths and some facts. And there are some myths that, believe me, there are a lot of myths going around, and that's why we love doing these, because we hear some ridiculous myths. I've heard a myth, oh, I can suck on a penny and beat the breathalyzer. No, you cannot believe me. I hear some ridiculous things. But people actually believe it, so, no stupid questions. It's once you disabuse their minds of these things, right? So, caffeine. Yeah, turn off your phone, guys, and stop clicking your pen, please. That's kind of distracting. So, caffeine. It might make you feel more awake, right? But it does not produce your back or your BRAC, right? It does not reverse impairment. So only time can sober you up, because remember, it goes from your stomach into your bloodstream, right? Another myth: cold showers help to sober you up. No, it doesn't. Okay, it does not. So you plan your drinking in advance, right? Guys, if you're going to go out with your friends, make sure that you have an Uber, right? And also switch up your drinks. Say if you're being social, a lot of people want to be social and they want to have a drink in their hand. It doesn't have to be an alcoholic drink. It can be a non-alcoholic drink, right? You pace yourself. You know your body, right? And you decide for yourself. Now, another thing I must say about this: don't have regrets with you for the rest of your life. If you have a friend and you see your friend going to drive and you're not sure about them, try to get them to stop. If they're your friend, try to get them to stop, right? To not go, right? Take their keys, do whatever you need to do. Like the saying, friends don't let friends drive drunk, is a serious thing, because the guilt that you will live with for the rest of your life, right? And knowing that you could have saved their families from that harm, it's not pretty and it's not something that will leave you. Okay, so alcohol poisoning. Remember I was telling you about a buddy of mine that passed from alcohol poisoning. Now there are a lot of myths with this. And maybe if the people who were around him knew, he would still be alive. There's a myth that if someone has alcohol poisoning, all you have to do is put a backpack on their back and leave them to lay down, right? Because they won't drown. That's foolishness. The recovery position for alcohol poisoning is always on their side. Always on their side. Okay? So, confusion. You're going to see the person disoriented, not speaking clearly. You know the signs, right? Unaware of their surroundings. Now, vomiting is the way of the body expelling excess alcohol. But that is dangerous if the person is like sleep vomiting, right? Unresponsive because they can choke and asphyxiate, right? Seizures too. Someone can actually start shaking and having seizures from alcohol poisoning, right? This is a problem. This slow and irregular breathing, right? And if you see their skin turning blue, turning pale, call 911 immediately and do not leave them. Don't think that, oh, 911 is coming, I'll leave, or don't do it. Don't leave them, because that is when the person can choke and die. Okay, again, call 911, right? Recovery position. This is not the recovery position, I just couldn't find a proper picture. Recovery position again is them on their sides, because you want them to be able, if they're going to vomit, you want it to be able to come up, not on their back. They'll choke. Again, stay with them and do not force vomiting. Don't force it, right? Because it will heighten the risk of them choking. Now, remember I was telling you about the young man recently, right? Okay. Recently I went to Mexico with a group of people. This is a good associate. Now, in Mexico, it's a beautiful country, wonderful country, but it just so happens that you can get a lot of prescription pills without the prescription from the pharmacies, right? So they can get Xanax, they can get muscle relaxants, they can get a lot of things, right? Now, this person on our trip, they were drinking all day, all night. The next morning, his roommate was panicking, sent a chat or WhatsApp chat to all of us, right? Because we're in a group. Tells us that he's unresponsive. He suffocated in his sleep. Why? Because mixing alcohol, right, with drugs like that slows down their respiratory, slows down their breathing. Remember that 8 breaths per minute slows it down so much that he actually had failure, right? Now I don't know exactly the details of how much drugs or exactly what drugs, right? But I heard it was Xanax, and that person would be unnamed. But that was a terrible call because he was just 33 years old. 33 years old, had his own business, right? And think about it. You are in Mexico or another country, and someone has to call your parents to tell them that you are no more. You don't want to put your parents through that. You don't want to put anybody through that. So that's why it's important, especially with guys, when you travel, don't just think that, oh, it's a free fall, oh, I can do this, I can do that. No, you still have to be mindful of yourself, and even if you think you're invincible, right, your family may not be, right? So that's that. So combining alcohol with depressants like opioids, benzodiazepines, see, risk of coma and death due to respiratory failure, right? Because it enhances the sedative effects of these drugs, right? So it does. So even mixing it with stimulants. This is what I always tell people, because nowadays too, you're always hearing about, oh, they're mixing alcohol with energy drinks. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's a stimulant. Don't do that. Okay? Cocaine, energy drinks, it actually makes you feel more alert. So you underestimate how inebriated you are, right? So all of these people who mix alcohol with Monster or mix alcohol with fiber or energy, don't do it. Because you're thinking that, hey, I'm fine because I'm alert, but you're really not, right? So you feel less impaired, and so you drink more, right? And that increases your risk of alcohol poisoning, all right? And it can give you heart palpitations, right? And depending on how healthy you are, you can have a heart attack. So I'm not trying to scare you from alcohol, because in truth, I drink alcohol. I don't mind alcohol, but I pace myself. And I don't drink to get drunk. I drink to just, first of all, test breathalyzers, and then also socially, right? So I'm not saying, abstaining is very good. If you can, that's great. But I'm not demonizing alcohol. I'm just saying, just be careful. Also, there's a Good Samaritan Act. I don't know if you guys know about this, right? It actually protects you if you call for help in case of an overdose or alcohol poisoning, right? From legal consequences related to substance abuse, right? So don't feel like, I'm kind of impaired too, so I don't want to call the cops because, my friend is impaired, I might get in trouble. Don't feel that way. There's a Good Samaritan Act. You actually save the person's life. So remember that. Because a lot of times people, they'll probably feel that way, like, I'm inebriated too, I don't want to call. Yeah, no, now you're going to be even more guilty, because when they find them and they find out who was with them, why didn't you call? Right? Okay, now let's talk about consent. Now this is something that a lot of people, your age and even older, get in trouble about, right? Consent and alcohol. Now, can someone give legal consent to sexual activity while intoxicated?
No.
No. See, he gets a prize. Why don't you guys answer? You guys answer. There's prizes here, so you have to answer. No, right? No, consent, it must be sober and voluntary and enthusiastic. He or she must say yes, and you must know that they are not inebriated, they are sober, 100% sober, right? So another good point is, even if someone says yes before they were intoxicated, like they were planning to, do the deed, and then they got intoxicated, the yes is not valid anymore, because their minds could have changed. That is true. So always remember that. And there are a couple cases in the States because of that, right? So even if she said, yes, sure, no problem, right? And then I start drinking and get intoxicated, that yes is no longer valid. Okay? So, reason being, because alcohol impairs your judgment, your memory, and your communication, right? So it makes it difficult for people to fully understand or control their actions. And this is under the law. This is why consent must be an emphatic yes and a sober yes. So don't forget that, because there are cases in the States now with people, not only your age, older, right, that don't know this. Okay, so the impact of alcohol on consent. These are the reasons why. Because the court knows that alcohol lowers inhibition, right? It increased the likelihood of risky choices, making it difficult for individuals to assess the situations clearly, right? And also impair judgment and memory, right? And also, here it is, invalid consent when intoxicated. Again, a person who is heavily intoxicated cannot legally or ethically provide consent. Ethically, because of the fact of the effects of alcohol that we just discussed. All right, scenarios. Intoxicated individuals, if someone is slurring their words, stumbling or incoherent, they're not in a state to give consent. Here it is. Even if they initiated something earlier, intoxication negates valid consent. So even if she was telling you or he was telling you yes for the whole month, the fact that he was drinking that night means no. Don't forget that, please. Mutual intoxication. If both of you are intoxicated, that's no excuse either. So you can't say, I was intoxicated too. No. It's still unclear whether valid consent was given. So the safest choice is to avoid engaging in any kind of sexual activities when alcohol is involved. That's the safest choice, guys. Guys, and when I say guys, I mean guys and girls. Alright? So again, I'm just going to nail it home again because I've seen a lot of lives destroyed because of this. Bright lives, just like you guys. Bright and beautiful and, looking forward to the future. It must be sober, enthusiastic, and ongoing. If there's any doubt, just assume that it's not valid. Alright? Which of the following is commonly a risky behavior linked to alcohol? Drunk driving, unprotected sex, or getting into fights?
All of the above.
Oh, yes, everybody gets surprised. All of the above, that's right. Right. So, okay, drunk driving, why is it? Alcohol actually it slows down your reaction time. So, you'll find a lot of people who are in alcohol-related crashes, sometimes they get T-boned. Why? Is because they see the car coming, they think they can turn left or turn right? See the car coming, and they misjudge the distance, right? And they just think that, oh, okay, I'm just going to do it fast. And actually, their timing is off, and they get T-boned, right? So that happens a lot. And just slow reaction time, like you're supposed to stop. What shade yellow are you waiting for to stop? When they're like, oh, stop, and then, something else happens there, or they hit somebody, right? So, also, unprotected sex, it lowers your inhibitions, right? This is my rule. If you wouldn't do it sober, don't do it while you're drinking, right? Just know what you would do when you're sober. If you wouldn't do it when you're sober, don't do it while you're drinking. Fights, it actually increases aggression, especially if you're in a bad mood before. Remember I said that it depends on the mood. Especially if you're in a bad mood before, it increases aggression. That's why you find a lot of people fight at clubs and fight at parties, etc. Right? See? 40% of violent crimes, they actually involve alcohol. Alright, here it is. Increase aggression. So, prevention strategies. Stay aware of your alcohol limits and the effect of your behavior, right? And implement a buddy system, right? Look out for your friends, look out for each other, right? Even the premise of designated drivers, right? Even designated drivers, about 70% of them, they admit that they take at least one drink in the event. Say they're going to go for a 3-hour party with their friends, and they say, okay, I'll be the driver. Usually they have one drink, right? So that's why it's important for them even to breathalyze. Because if you're going to have that one drink, okay, nearer to the time when you're going to go home, breathalyze and see if you really are fit to drive these people home. Anyhow, I just say if you're going to be a designated driver, don't drink, right? Just be a part of that few that does not drink. Because it's not just your life, it's the people that you promise that you're going to get home safely. But the buddy system, guys, look out for each other. Look out for each other. Like, a lot of lives could be saved if we actually just took responsibility of each other. You don't want to be standing over someone's casket and looking at their mother, right? Or know that your friend will never walk again because of something. Remember, they're impaired because of something that you could have stopped, right? Intervene if they are making unsafe choices, right? Know your own limits. Have a transportation plan, right? Use the Uber or designated driver, right? And recognize emotional triggers, right? Because it amplifies emotions. So the key takeaway, drink responsibly, pace yourself, right? Stay hydrated, make sure you eat. Recognize the alcohol poisoning and call 911, act fast. Okay? Always remember that it's not consensual if the person is tipsy, drunk, whatever. Once they're not sober, it's not consensual. Don't get in trouble. Okay? And prevent drunk driving, unsafe sex, and violence, right? And always encourage responsible choices. So if you're going to go to the game and you're going to have a drink, have one drink. Okay, the game is 3 hours. Have one drink early so you have enough time, and make sure you eat. right? I'm just telling you reality because I know that when you go to the game, you're going to drink. I'm not encouraging it, but I'm just telling you, if you're going to drink, do it smart. Do it early. If you have 3 hours, you do it early. Make sure that you've been drinking, make sure that you've been eating, right? The second hour, you test, and you test again. Make sure that you're way below and you feel okay to drive. If you don't, take a cab, leave your car, right? I'm just telling you reality because I know a lot of people still go out there and they still drink. That's why this problem still happens, right? So I'm not advocating for drinking and driving, I'm not. But if it's happening, I want you guys to be smart and I want you guys to stay alive and out of trouble. Use breathalyzers and, foster a culture of responsible drinking. They're planning, etc. and looking out for friends. Be attentive to your friends who are drinking. Watch them, right? And intervene. If you see they're going, they're starting to get woozy. And you know what? Even if they say, you know what, I'm taking the TTC, that's still a problem. Because they can still get hit by a car. They can still, do you know how many times I am driving and I'm wondering, is this person trying to commit suicide by car? No, they're just inebriated. And they're walking on the side, or trying to cross the road. So you have to make sure, just watch out for your friends, guys. Watch out for each other. Okay. What was the most surprising fact that you learned today? Anybody? Don't be shy.
That you could be charged for impaired driving even if you have prescription drugs.
Yeah.
That was the most surprising part.
The most surprising for you. Anybody else?
Like forced vomiting is harmful.
Sorry?
Forced vomiting is harmful.
That,
Forced vomiting is harmful.
yes. Yeah. Forcing vomiting is harmful, right? And what else? Anybody else? No? Nothing else surprising? That's good. Okay, you wanted to say.
No, I almost knew everything.
Good. That's good even if you know, right? Because reminders are good, right? That's not a problem. Okay? So, what do you think? How do you think that you can apply what was reinforced or what was learned today? How do you think you can apply it in your daily lives? Because you guys know your lives, So I'm here to learn from you too. So, how do you think that you will implicate or, apply this to your daily lives? Anybody? Talk up, man.
Well, you can develop my friends who drink.
That's right.
Although I don't encourage anyone to do it, but if someone is drinking it, so I can kind of look out for them. They're not drinking like too much. They have safe transportation home.
Good.
Something like that.
Good. That's excellent. Excellent. Anybody else?
Something that surprised me
Yeah.
was the story that you shared about Mexico. Like one of your associates, the day before, I
Yeah.
think he was drinking, and the next day, I guess he felt anxious, so he got the prescription drug.
It was the same night.
It was the same night.
Yeah.
So, even when you're drinking, you might think once the end of the night, I worn off my drinking, I'm sober now, you're feeling sober.
Right.
But then still that mix up of chemicals in you
Exactly.
can still be very dangerous. So that's
Exactly.
something that's it's alarming, but also good to be aware of what you're putting in your system.
Exactly.
essentially. Even with weed,
There you
I've heard
go.
stories about people getting greened out, as they say,
Yes.
which is mixing alcohol and weed
Marijuana.
together at the same time.
Yeah.
Also very, very dangerous.
Very dangerous, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Reason being, right? Because alcohol, it lowers your blood pressure, right? So that means, right, that you will have a more intoxication and a faster intoxication, right? Sorry, with alcohol or weed lowers your blood pressure. Yeah, both actually. So it's gonna open your vessels more, and it's gonna rush to your bloodstream more and rush to your organs more. Actually, so that's actually a good one. And weed is common now, right? Because you can have it delivered to your house, it's all over, right? So just be careful. So you have a higher intoxication at a shorter time, right? And a longer intoxication. So thank you very much for, for having me and for talking, for listening to me. So if you guys, say if you have summer and you want to learn how to be a tech, because what we do actually too for part of our service, we go to events where alcohol is served, like corporate events, and we administer breath tests, right? We administer breath tests and we advise people of where they are and where they'll be at the end of the night. So we basically are real-time alcohol protection. So, but you have to have your smart serve. So if you have your smart serve, right, and you're looking for, say, summer work or, in between your studies, you can reach out to us and, we'll screen you and make sure that you're good to go. And we'll train you in our specific SOP, standard operating procedure, that you have to follow guidelines, right, in order to give the breath tests and in order to, for your reports to stand up in court. So you have to follow specific guidelines. So if you guys are interested, you can reach out. So that's the end of the presentation, but I have some prizes for you guys.
Yeah, can leave it there.
Yeah? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll give you each one or two.
One per person should
One
be
per
right
person?
now.
Okay. And I have extras too.
Are these the breathalyzers?
Yeah.
Or, okay, perfect.
So with these breathalyzers, okay, pass one down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I'm looking for. Okay, so guys, when you use these breathalyzers, if you notice on the back, it says wait 20 minutes, right, after your last drink. The reason being, you have to wait for the alcohol to metabolize in your system. So you always want to catch your spike going down for a true reading. You don't want to wait 10 minutes after your last drink because your rack might still be raising, right? It takes 20 minutes, usually, a healthy person, for alcohol to metabolize in your body. So wait 20 minutes, even more, 30 minutes, that's better, right? What you do, you follow the instructions, you push it in, right? You push it in properly because there's a foil seal at the top, right? You want to break that seal. When you blow through it, it should be as easy as blowing through a straw. So you blow for 10 seconds, you blow for another 10 seconds, right? And you wait 4 minutes, and you'll see the salt start to change. You actually start to feel the heat in the device because it's a chemical reaction, right? So you actually start to feel heat in it, right? And you start to see the crystals change, but the last result is after 4 minutes. But let me give you some more because I brought extras, and I actually brought some other protection kits. 1 second. Very strange. You know what? I'll give you guys 2 each. Oh, yeah, just these guys. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought I brought the other prize, so you know what? Since my prize spark. There you go. I have more extra. I have one, but I didn't know. Oh,
It's for you.
You're giving it to your friends.
It's for you.
We do have some extras which Student Life Office will keep, so you guys know where they are now. So if you're ever in need of picking up another one, just feel free to come by the Student Life Office, 2nd floor downstairs, and we'll be happy to give you more.
Okay, thanks guys for having me. Let me give this to Ruthie.
Thank you, Julia.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so we can serve lunch. We'll start with this row with Vigan. If you guys want to just come up, we have vegetarian lunch boxes.